Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Well, it's good morning. It's still morning here. My name is Violet Harada, and I'm very, very happy to be facilitating this particular session. We have with us today Charisse Castillo, Danielle Todd, and Jennifer Fuchikami from the Hawaii State Public Library System. And they're doing a presentation today on navigating librarianship through the HLA Mentoring Program. For their bios, you can go back to the conference website, and the recording that we're putting in progress now is going to be available for a month to all the.
Sorry, I hit the wrong thing.
Go ahead and type your questions in the chat box. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to, is it Charisse starting us off?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Our presentation is Navigating Librarianship through the HLA Mentoring Program. Meeting the mentors. My name is Charisse Castillo. I am branch manager of the Oahu Public Library. I'm also involved in the HLA board as the ALA chapter counselor and a member of this mentoring program. I got involved in this mentoring program, origins in 2017, but what really got me involved in wanting to create, to revitalize this program was because I had a really good mentor when I was a LAS student. And I thought that was very important in developing my direction in getting into librarianship. I thought that if everybody had a mentor, it will help them along the way. And so that's why I got involved.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Fuchikami. I'm a youth services librarian at the Kabale Public Library. And I just finished up my term as an HLA board member. The reason why I got involved in the HLA mentoring program is I was involved in the 2018 HLA mentoring program, and that inspired me to also apply for and participate in ALA's ALSC mentoring program for children's librarians. And I actually contacted Charisse about like, oh, are we ever going to do this mentoring program again? Because I would love to be mentored again. But then she actually asked me to join the committee. So yeah, it's been a really great experience.
Hi, I'm Danielle Todd, and I am the staff development coordinator, which is part of Library Development Services section within Hawaii State Public Library System. It's a very long title, but I'm finishing up my time as the HLA membership chair. I didn't put it on there because I'm out after this conference. But I got involved in this because I was at an HLA meeting as my role as the membership chair, and it was brought up they're starting the mentoring program again. And I was very interested as it really connects with my professional role as staff development coordinator, which is all about training and continuing education. And I wanted to see what was going on and be involved. And I also wanted to see what was out there in terms of our different people and who was interested in being a mentor and who was interested in being menteed. So that's kind of where I got involved.
Great. Okay, so before we begin, we have some questions for the audience. First one is, so far, what are your thoughts about mentoring? And now, so you could, if you feel then, if you want, you could unmute yourself or put it in chat. We just want to see from the audience, what are your thoughts on mentoring? I see we also have some HLA mentoring program participants. So from you two could also share what your thoughts are.
We've got
mentoring.
Couple things in the chat, Therese. So Brooke is saying that a good match is needed. That's absolutely true.
Mhm.
Kelsey is saying it's a great way to connect with others. I think we agree with that as well.
Nice. Any other comments?
Oh, a non-evaluative person to learn from. Lovely way to put that, Carrie.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, have you participated in a mentoring program formally or informally?
We've got a couple yeses. Yes to both. Yes to both. Okay, that's great to know. I think to the earlier question, Jenny is saying it's a relationship built on common ground, learning and giving, which is beautiful. Yes, we've got lots of yeses to the second question.
Nice, nice. Third question is, what was it like? What was it like for when you were being mentored or you're being mentee, formally or informally? Kind of want to share my own. So when I say mentoring, that I was mentored, it was informally. And I liked it because it was someone I already knew. It was when I was a student, when I was in high school many years ago, I was a student helper, so I shelved books at the Waimanalo Public Library. And when I decided to become a librarian, the staff there were very encouraging, and Nina O'Donnell was the children's librarian, and she really like gave me the lowdown. She explained the ins and outs of HSPLS, so I knew all these intricacies that I wouldn't have gotten if anywhere else, and I felt really empowered, and I felt very confident in my going into the library field because I had that informal mentoring. Yeah. And so audience, what was it like for you?
So Carrie said it's helpful to both parties, professional conversation. Kristen is saying it is a relief to know someone is there if I had questions. Rachel is saying it was wonderful when it was a good match, supportive, positive critiques. Yeah, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So today's agenda, we just wrapped up questions, but we're going to go over what is the HLA Mentoring Program, why mentoring is important. I'll give you a little bit of more history background of the program, its history and origins, and the revitalization. And then we'll wrap it up with how it works, how you can participate, and then we'll save some time for Q&As.
All right, I think it's over to me now. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the HLA Mentoring Program is, less about the actual specifics and just a broad overview. Next slide. So the HLA Mentoring Program, the big overall picture is to facilitate closer professional relationships and personal growth within Hawaii's library profession. That's a direct quote from the website, but it is also what we really talked about as a committee. What do we want this to be? Next slide. So one thing I do want to mention is there's a difference between a mentor versus a coach, and there's a really great, easy to understand explanation of this from Kent State University. So a mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor, which is something that came up in our questions that people are giving feedback. That's exactly right. It's development driven, so it's really broad in terms of what you're going to be doing. It can be informal, as what Sharice shared, and the agenda is really set by the mentee. So as the mentee, you go into it saying, this is where I want to go. Can I come to you with questions? Can I come to you with ideas? Can you click in again to get coach to come up? Thank you. So a coach is something you may have heard about. It's usually a more formal agreement. Actually, it is a formal agreement. It's not usually. It's partnering with clients that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So same way you'd have a coach for a sports team, this is your professional coach. It's performance driven, it's specific and measurable. There's an agenda that is co-created by the coach and mentee. So you might come into it as a mentee saying, this is kind of what I want to do. And the coach will say, okay, to get there, you're going to need to do this, this, and this. I think you need to work on that. And you come up with a very concrete plan over a specific amount of time. So there is a difference between coach and mentee. Okay, next slide. Within mentoring, there's a lot of different styles. Usually what we think about is a traditional mentorship. We're looking for people that have, within the HLA, have at least 3 years of experience in the field. The mentee is looking to develop their skills, and they work together to identify the goals and objectives and the amount of time they want to be invested. So it's based on kind of someone who's experienced, someone who's less experienced, trying to work together. Next slide, or next pop up. Thank you. There's also this idea of a peer-to-peer mentoring. And what that is what it sounds like. Both parties have similar levels of experience with complementary goals and skill sets. This has been shown in different studies to increase motivation and support and resourcefulness of professionals. So one way I think about peer-to-peer mentoring is when you're in the LIS program, you kind of have that. You have people that are in your same class. You're going into it the same way. Maybe one person has a little bit more experience in an area and they can help you out. Once you leave the program, you might not have that. You might go and work in a library that everyone's really experienced and you don't feel comfortable talking to them. Having someone you can reach out to who's on your same level can be really helpful and kind of helps you find a path forward. Slide. So what we decided for this mentoring program going forward, we offered a traditional and a peer-to-peer. And what we really decided to do to get started was make a hybrid combination of mentorship and coaching model. Because this was matching people up who have never met, we wanted to give them a blueprint of what they were going to do and develop some SMART goals. And they didn't have to follow it. It was really just to get people talking about what do you want to have done over the course of this mentorship program. That was really just a blueprint for them. There wasn't any homework really involved. It was just to help them. It was open to all HLA members. It was about a half-year commitment. And we tried to make the matches based on interest and skills and goals. So there was a lot of looking at spreadsheets and talking about who do we know that would work for this person? How do we know them? Can we reach out, talk to them? It was a really interesting process to go through and really think about if we knew the people, personalities that would match up, interests that would match up. Okay. I'm just going to talk a little bit about why mentoring is important. I don't think I need to do a hard sell, but next slide. So both partners should benefit from mentoring. It's professional development for the mentee and the mentor. The mentee, it's pretty obvious, gets advice. They get to expand their networks. The mentor gets the opportunity to practice their leadership skills. They get to gain new perspectives, and it gives you an opportunity to reflect. Think about where you've been in your career. What decisions have you made? What advice can you give someone based on your experience? And this allows connections and perspectives outside of everyday work. I do really believe in fostering mentorship, informal mentorship within maybe your branch or your department or what have you. But having someone outside of a situation that you can go to and ask more questions is so important to see new perspectives. Next slide. I believe that mentorship is really at the heart of librarianship. Similar to Charisse, I had informal mentorships. Pretty much everyone I have ever worked under has been an amazing mentor to me and really taken the time to explain things and be thoughtful about our conversations and really helped me to develop as a librarian and how to think of the profession. So when we think about what is the heart of librarianship, it's being helpful guides to information and resources. And what is the heart of being a mentor? It's helping a mentee to find the information and resource sharing. So it's a really great match within our profession. And I think it happens organically all the time. I just think that librarians are mentors in so many different ways. Next slide.
Thank you, Danielle. And I totally agree. Librarians innately just want to help. And what would not to help is our fellow librarians, especially new ones. So I'm going to cover briefly, it's a really short history. So of the HLA program, it had a very short slow beginning, a big concept. So I wanted, back in 2017, I had this idea that what HLA members really would benefit from was a very strong HLA mentoring program. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna set it. It was okay, but like I've said, my experience with mentoring was only informal, and when I, had this big concept, oh, I'm gonna create this program, I just realized I've never been in a program. And so there's a lot to it. And so although it was a good start, we had people that were interested in it. I felt like it still needed more, and I took a little hiatus to rethink. It needed if the feedback I received from the first run was that some people wanted more structure, wanted more, and that it was a little bit more up to the mentors and mentees to kind of figure things out. And so in 2019, I really had to think about how to go restructure everything. And then which leads us to the revitalization. And like Jen had mentioned, she was the one to nudge me. And to be honest, I was a little embarrassed when she sent me that email, because it was something I had not really formally addressed, and I knew that I needed to get back to it. I just didn't know how. But I'm very thankful for her and her email and wanting to restart, and having her and Danielle on with their skills really, I feel, is for bringing the revitalization that the program needed. Because like Danielle was saying, mentoring is very important, especially in your, if you're new to the profession, or even if you've been in the profession for many years, there's still a lot of learning to be done. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to cover how it works and how you can participate this upcoming year in 2023. So next slide. Okay, so this is just a sample of the timeline that we ran this year in 2022. The applications opened in February, and please don't be intimidated by the application. It's just that we wanted to get as much information as possible about you so that we can make the best match for you. We also wanted you to use the questions to reflect a little bit about yourself. Think about why you want to join the mentoring program, about what you may want to pursue or work on in the mentorship program, and that way you and your match can hit the ground running. And the mentoring application was kind of based on, we looked at other library associations that had mentoring programs, and then when I participated in ALA ALSC's, the Children Librarian Mentoring Program, they had a very, very involved application. Ours is a lot shorter, but we do want you to kind of use it to kind of reflect and think before you apply. But I think it takes around like 15-ish minutes. It's not too long. And then the applications closed in March, and then we had a virtual speed network event. And this was open to all of the applicants. We wanted to give everyone a chance to meet each other. And we were fortunate that we were able to give everyone a mentor-mentee match as requested this cycle. But in case we weren't able to, we wanted to give the opportunity for all the applicants to be able to network. And then the matches were announced in May, and the mentoring process starts. And then we did a midpoint meeting with the mentors and mentees in around August. And that was open for all of our mentors and mentees to meet together and share their experiences so far, get ideas from each other. And we decided to meet virtually because we had participants from Oahu, Maui, Molokai, and Hawai'i Island. And then we have an HLA conference meetup with mentors and mentees. And so November, December, depending on when the conference is. So in the past, the mentoring program had an actual workshop session at the conference for us to meet in person, and perhaps we'll look into that when our conference is fully in person again, we'll be doing a small meetup at the HLA Centennial Reception tonight at 6 p.m. And we'll be meeting wherever Sharice's poster is set up because she's doing the poster session. So that will have ended right at 6. All right, next. Okay, and then who can apply? Any current HLA member, as mentioned previously, and you can participate multiple times. We're not going to put a cap on that at this time. And to apply to be a mentor, we want you to have at least 3 or more years of professional experience. And I just want to encourage everyone, even if you don't think of yourself as a mentor, you do have value to share, and just being farther along in your librarian journey makes you qualified. It can be a learning experience for both parties. And as Danielle mentioned earlier, like our roles ourselves as librarians, it kind of is like being a mentor or, connecting people to information. So if you think about it like that, you kind of already have all the training you need to be a mentor. And then of course, you can also apply to be a mentee, and we do have the peer-to-peer mentorship available also. So you can choose that option if you like as well. And then next slide. After you're matched, so the HLA Mentoring Program Committee, we provide suggestions and a framework, but you're not great on it. We don't follow up on you unless you reach out to us, other than the check-in points that we have built into the program. And that's to give you guys the ultimate flexibility. A successful mentoring experience relies on you and your partner. You need to work together to identify your goals and objectives. And then interactions between the mentor and mentee can be as flexible as needed. And so in my experience, in the HLA program, mentoring program, the first round, we kind of just emailed each other back and forth, and because we were both busy, it kind of just petered out. And then when I was in the ALSC program, because I got my first experience, it was similar. We only communicated via email. The second one, because both of my mentors, lived on the mainland, so we couldn't meet in person. But the second one, she had been a mentor many times. And so we would set up a monthly video call with each other, and then we would email back and forth in between. And that one was much more benefit. I was able to stay more on track with that one, even though we were in the midst of the pandemic. But in my experience, I would recommend at least a once-a-month meeting. It can be in person, virtually in Skype or Zoom, or a phone call, something where you're both present. I think that's really helpful. And then supplemented with emails, texting, or other methods of communication. So that's just based on my personal experience, what I would suggest or encourage them to consider. Okay, and next slide. Okay. And then just some feedback of what that we got from our participants this year, anonymously. Next slide. So we had a lot of positive comments. As someone mentioned earlier, when they had a good match. Sorry, I'm just admitting some people. So that was very encouraging that a lot of people found benefit from our program. I don't know if Sharice or Danielle, if you had anything to add.
I can read the slides if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, many thanks to HLA for setting up a good match with my mentee. I would be happy to participate again in this program if needed.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it immensely and learned so much. Very appreciative of HLA organizing the program, and for my mentor who has provided me with both great insights and inspiration. So that's a lovely one. All right. So far, my experience as a mentor has been average. Unfortunately, due to work on both sides for the mentor and the mentee, it was difficult to communicate in a timely manner, even over email. There are attempts, and unfortunately, we did not go beyond a year, 1 year, 5 year, or 10-year plans. So yes, we are very aware that sometimes things peter out. I would say even having a 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan is pretty impressive to get through.
Yeah.
I would count that as a success, even if you didn't check in all the time, you did do something. I think the formality of the program, completing and submitting a mentoring plan, for example, felt a little forced. For me personally, I like to meet and talk in person or virtually to establish a relationship and uncover questions and areas for investigation through conversation. If HLA could host a monthly meetup for mentors and mentees, maybe the area of specialization, that might make me feel more comfortable. I think that's a really great feedback. We were trying to make it as flexible as possible, but give you a framework. We also tried to say, please submit it more so that people would actually do something. Because we know if we say, oh, go talk to this person, what are you going to do? So I think taking these things into perspective is really important. Jennifer Shreese, do you have anything to add to that? I know we've talked about editing some things going forward.
I think this person too still said at the end that they still had a positive experience with their match. So yeah, but it was good to receive feedback where, you know, on how we could possibly improve or what we could maybe add or give more options for people, like more opportunities, especially now that we're heading out of COVID, we might be able to do more in person or virtual events. Also like keeping mindful of that we do have people across the islands participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Just to tag on to that, you know, sometimes it was hard for us to gauge like, oh, are people meeting with their, you know, like it's a delicate balance. Like you don't want to give someone a lot of things to do and then people are like, oh, it's too much commitment. But at the same time, you still want to be like, I just want to check in. So that, yeah, the mentoring plan I think was just a check-in, but we could probably reframe it in a different way or
I think
make it a
it's
little bit easier for people to let us know.
But I don't know if you've heard that analogy about giving people handrails. Like if you're going to make somebody walk across a bridge, give them handrails. And I think that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
But we may have made it a little bit more of a barrier than handrails. So it's figuring out the flexibility on that. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. My mentor was very generous with her time and her knowledge. She sent me resources that helped me get started with my own planning and saved me with feedback on some of my more naive ideas. I'm very appreciative of this HLA mentorship program and enthusiastic about being involved in the future as a mentee and eventually a mentor, which is exactly what we want to hear. I'm so glad that you've had a good turnout. That's great.
Nice.
Okay, and then I just jotted down a few reflections for the future program. So one of the reasons why I initially contacted Sharice about restarting the HLA mentoring program, besides wanting to get mentored again, is like, how do we encourage more recent graduates and non-LIS students to participate? Because I felt like when I was at the UH Manoa Library Science program, like, you know, Dr. Harada, she did the internship program where I received a wonderful mentor and connection through. And I feel like when you're a student, you have so many opportunities, kind of like Sharice, was it Sharice or Danielle that alluded to, you know, you have your peers there with you. And then once you graduate, especially from personal experience, it took me several years to find a professional librarian or a permanent librarian position after graduation. And I was thinking about some of my peers too, you know, some of them still haven't found a librarian job. And of course, some of that's related to the pandemic and things like that. But I really was hoping that recent graduates would find that helpful in the job search process and just navigating that. And we're looking at more virtual and in-person meetups, and all of the events we have are optional because I know people's schedules are different. But maybe having more of them is possible besides just the networking and the midpoint checkup. And one thing we're also thinking about is for the ALSC mentoring program I was in, they had as part of the application, they had a kind of like a survey, and then at the end of the program, they asked us the same questions like, how do you feel, like, what do you rate yourself as, like, for collection development, or how comfortable do you feel like programming and stuff like that. And so if we ask the same questions, we can compare the data and see if there was a difference that the mentoring program made. That's something we might consider doing in the future. And then also reinforcing professional courtesy and other soft skills development. Let's see. I think Sharice, Danielle, was there any other things?
Yes, I wanted to tag on to the last bullet point and reinforcing professional courtesy and other soft skills development. One of the challenges that we've noticed amongst mentors is their mentee, their match might peter off or kind of ghost them. And, people, we're busy. We've all got stuff to do. But I think, what we want to express to people who are interested in this program is that although, we're matching you to hopefully a new friend, a new colleague, but also it is a professional program, and that we also want to be professional in our communication and courtesy. Like, for instance, if you maybe you committed to doing this program and things happen, life happened, and you're unable to kind of go forward, we want both parties, both mentors and mentees, to know that it is always be professional, and let the other party know. You don't have to explain, maybe personal things, but just professional courtesy. Let them know, unfortunately, I cannot participate, or I cannot go forth, because we want people to know that you're amongst other professionals, and it's a small island, and people, hopefully this program, when you participate in this program, it will not only you'll gain a friend, colleague, or a network. And so things like that matter. And that was one of the main challenges. And of course, we don't have, can't strong arm someone to say, like, oh, you let us know what's going on with you. But, definitely consider this before, committing to something. Or, if you can commit to something, have professional courtesy on your mind.
Yeah. And we do ask when you sign up, we do, or in our guidelines, we do ask that if something unexpected comes up, or like when you're able to, like, if you need to withdraw from the program, it is totally okay to do that. You just email or you contact the committee and or your mentor, so that we're aware, and we can take you off the like email reminders of stuff like that, so you don't get any more stress or anything like that. But yeah, we do appreciate that. Because it is kind of sad when we hear from like a mentor or something, and they talk about like, oh yeah, they tried contacting so and so, and they haven't heard back from them, kind of thing. And so, and then we'll reach out to the other party too if needed. But yeah, life happens. But yeah, please let us know. When
communication is key.
Just to add on to that, part of the reason we want to check up is, are you okay? It's usually out of concern, not out of scolding anyone. So just tell us, so we're not all wondering what's happened to you.
We like some people like more a structure, so so the committee is very flexible. We can provide more structure. We can also take a step back and allow you to take take it where you want to go.
Mhm.
The other thing too is that I wanted to mention that we've talked to other mentees and mentors, and one mentor mentioned that, you know, at first she wasn't sure whether or not, you know, they were a good match, but
Mhm.
as time went by, they figured out a nice groove, and so they used their time not only to discuss, you know, librarianship or whatever work related things, but as a venting time, which is really, you know, sometimes with work you kind of need that, so, you know, because sometimes you don't want to just wear your family's ears off, or you sometimes you want to talk to somebody, but maybe you have a small staff, so that mentor became a listening ear for that
Mhm.
mentee, and that's exactly what we want, you know, our participants to get out of, is to find what works for them. You know, maybe setting up plans didn't work for them, but having a safe space for them to
Mhm.
confide in, and especially if they are in somewhat similar um positions,
Mhm.
um it's nice. It's nice to have someone to talk to. In HSPLS, especially on the outer islands, a lot of branch managers are sometimes they have a really small staff, so sometimes you're the only person in charge, and then you're also the only librarian, and that can be a little bit isolating too. So this is a great program to help you connect to other people that you maybe not connect with on your daily basis.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think we're in the Q&A part.
Mhm.
So does anybody have any questions? Let's
Mhm.
see who we have here.
Or I
I
do
did,
see some of the 2022 participants of the
I
mentoring program
do.
are here. If any of
Yes,
them
yeah.
want to speak or share their experience, you're welcome to, or put it in the chat box.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Big. Oh,
Hi,
wait.
Jenny.
Oh, wait. No, there's a real question. Let answer that one first. I'll be quiet.
Okay, it says Carrie's asking that she may have missed
Oh.
this, but how many times can you sign up to be a mentee?
Mhm. So currently there is no limit, but I think what we're planning to do for the upcoming year is we're going to say that that everyone's welcome to apply, but we may prioritize first-time participants in the matching process in case we don't have enough mentors and for all the mentees. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you. Jenny, did you want to say
Okay.
something? You're on.
No question comes up, we'll answer it and we'll prioritize questions. But I'm so happy that this program got revitalized, and I'm just happy to be a resource. It is difficult, I think, to find matching schedules. But I think, you know, you can just do the best you can. And I think it's organic and it'll be different for every pair, right? Like you just put your best foot forward and hope for the best, and really offering from a place of connection. And that's where I'm coming from. Like, I really just want to support, you know, especially newer professionals coming into the field, like whatever I can do to uplift and welcome you to the fold of librarianship. It's going to happen. Also, something I was just thinking, I was brainstorming, and because I serve as a mentor in another library association, because librarians are awesome and we have all these other ways to connect. And something that happened there is that instead of just a one-on-one, I actually have two mentees, and now we meet as like a little cohort, and so that's kind of cool. And I heard that and I got that idea totally, like I didn't come up with myself. I totally adopted it. Because one of my academic colleagues, that's how she has a cohort of 2 or 3. And so of course I'm available one-on-one, and we're just starting it out, but I feel like it's a really great way to connect, because then the mentees have so much in common, and then I'm on hand, and we can talk story about an issue that we're facing, but then they have so much in common. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, you talk. And it's really cool. It's very cool. So that's something to think about.
It kind of sounds like they're in a mentor-mentee and a peer-to-peer
Yeah.
Yes.
mentorship thing at the same time. That's kind of cool.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of cool because that connection happened through the program. Whereas
Mhm.
I know I come across as very
Mhm.
extroverted, but I'm really a closet introvert. I promise. Sometimes I just want to curl up. I'm like, I like to be in my pajamas a lot, but why do I end up going out? But okay. But I think, you know, we're shy to reach out to new people, right? And
Mhm.
so this peer-to-peer happened because of the mentorship and because they had this in common. It was really cool. It's a cool starting place. So
Nice. Then Jenny, did they have that on the application that you would be like mentors, or you would mentor like more than one student, or
no,
new
no, you
person,
sign
or
up to do
you just
one-to-one and it just happened
oh
organically.
oh
So then you're contacted. So and I was actually at a panel like this, like, what is our mentorship program? And then the person who was sharing was like, well, this is what happened for us. It was very organic. And then somebody on there, because I was I was the moderator, and they were like, Jenny, be my mentor. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. But then I wanted to double check with my formal mentee first.
Mhm.
oh I see.
Without, you know, so don't, you know, and but she was fine with it. And if she hadn't been, that was fine. I would have been happy to meet one-on-one. But then she was also there at the panel thinking, and I think it got her juices flowing, like, oh wow, so we could work together. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, it is an organic, evolving situation. It might not work in every situation, but in this one it worked because in that subset we're like government law librarians. So it's very specific
Yeah,
to
that's true.
work, you know.
Yeah, I think that was something we ran into is because librarianship is so broad, and this was a very broad mentorship thing, is finding one-to-one correlations
Yeah.
can be a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Um,
see Aloha. Sorry, I have to just give a shout out to Aloha. Hi, Aloha. Sorry, she's here.
Hi, yeah. I wanted to say that I'm the lucky one. I'm the one that has her all to myself.
Nice.
And I'm so happy to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, she's just been a wealth of knowledge and encouragement. And I am just so grateful to be a part of all of this. And I hope to see some of you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yay.
Aloha will be with us today. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, it's happening today. It's coming. I'm so happy you could be with us, Aloha. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'll be talking a lot, and this is your session.
But that's so great. And I think there was another mentor who actually offered or was willing to take on more than one mentee. So that's really awesome. I want
Mhm.
to hear that you guys are willing to invest in the lives of all these new librarians. Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you so much.
Ladies, how many mentorship partnerships do you have right now going on?
I believe, was there 11 pairs this year?
There's 11 pairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So 22 total people
Yeah.
participating. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah.
number. If you have something to put in chat, go ahead and do that. We're all looking at it to see what comments and questions are coming up. We have another 2 or 3 minutes.
Mhm.
The last thing I wanted to say was that I have, when Danielle was talking about the difference between coaching and mentoring, I've actually had an experience with coaching, professional coaching, and that was a pretty good experience. Definitely different from a mentoring, but I think I prefer being the mentoring format though.
Tamara has a question. They don't have the answer off the top of my head. How many of the partnerships for HSPLS? It was
I'm gonna say
not.
maybe two or three, possibly.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
very many. We
Yeah.
had some mentors who were
Mhm.
HSPLS or retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can look that
I
up,
think
but I
I
can't
think there
remember
were
off the top of my head.
three. I think
There
there
were
were three HSPLS
Staff.
participants this year.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
one of them was, or no, four. I believe it was
Four.
four.
Four
So there was
people.
one that was HSPLS to HSPLS. There was and the other two were HSPLS to I think one was a peer mentorship, and then one was a HSPLS with a student
Yes.
this year,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Applications should be open next year in 2023. I believe the mentor application is open so you can look at the questions, but we did close, I believe we closed the mentee application just because we had gotten a big response and we had to go hunting for mentors
Yeah.
and asking them to apply. So what we might do is maybe just keep the mentor application open year round, even though we don't promote it. And then the mentee one will be open probably in February, but next year in
Yeah.
2023. So just
We
keep your
tried
eyes
to-
out for that.
We tried to do a cute thing on Valentine's Day for
Yeah.
those like meet your mentor match, which I think we thought was funnier than anybody else did, but
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That brings us to the end of this session. You know, this is such an awesome, awesome undertaking. So I know my heart goes out to all the efforts that you're putting into this. And to all the participants who sat in with us today, mahalo. This session has an evaluation link, which I'm going to put into, whoops, it's not allowing me to. Danielle, can you get it up?
yeah, let me find it real quick.
I think it's on our Zoom page, on the schedule page
probably
too.
Yeah.
There's
And
a link.
it should give you a pop-up
Yeah.
when you close this, but let me just, I can pull it up really fast. Hang on.
Okay, thank you so much. And anyway, this evaluation link is available in the session description as well. So anyway, do take time to put your comments there. And please enjoy the rest of the session, and we'll see you tonight at the Bishop Museum.
I
Thank
just want to
you.
say, sorry, there's one
Go ahead.
last comment.
Sure.
For those of us who were ghosted by our mentees, what do you suggest? You know, we kind of briefly talked about this a little earlier, but that's where we wanted to have this. One of the reasons why we wanted to have this presentation is to not only encourage members to participate, but to also know we wanted to hammer in the professional courtesy. Unfortunately, that was one of our biggest challenge is that some mentees kind of ghosted their mentors, and unfortunately there's very little that we can do other than you know, really hammer in that when you sign up that, you know, this is a professional association and that you also want to behave in a professional setting. Yeah. So hopefully those, you know, those new mentees that are considering participating will, even mentors, all participants will keep that in mind. Thank you.
I think what I would also recommend is if someone, if you know, if you've reached out to your partner multiple times and they haven't responded, like just let the committee know, and we can also do our best to reach out and see, follow up with them too.
Yeah.
I also just want to say, don't let it discourage you, because it wasn't about you as a mentor.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Just remember that you're very valuable. You have so much, a wealth of information, and let's just try again for another match. That's my biggest advice right now. Is like, don't take it that it's you.
Yes.
It's not.
And I think, because all of my experiences in these types of formal mentorship programs, they've been very different and they've happened in different ways, and you connect to people in different ways. But I found benefit in all of my pairings, even if some of them ended up petering out. Like one was because it was COVID, and that's why ALSC allowed us to participate in it the following year again, because you know, everything kind of, it was just very 2020.
Yeah.
But thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you again, everybody. This has been
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.